Hi friends, it's Jessie here. I'm back with another video, and in today's video we are going to be going over my budget for the third paycheck in May. Technically it's the third and fourth paycheck in May because my husband got a paycheck this week, but I also received a paycheck this week. I make a little teeny tiny bit of income from YouTube. YouTube typically pays out on the 21st of the month, which falls in this week. So technically I have a paycheck in there, but I don't number my paychecks because I only get one. So we're just calling this paycheck number 3's budget, even though I do have a little tiny stream of income that we're adding in this week. So if you are new to my channel, hi, I'm Jessie. I post budget videos here pretty much every Friday. I am working in the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom, which I purchased the printable version. I print out the pages that I need. I punch them using an arc punch. I have a whole video on how I set up my budget planner for the month, if you're interested in learning more about what I do to get everything set up. But I put it right into a big size happy planner, and that is how I keep everything together. In addition to my budget binder, I also have just some regular planning pages in this planner as well. So like I said, we're working for the paycheck that my husband received on May 19th. This is his third paycheck of the month. We also are going to add in the little bit of income that I received from YouTube, which you may be able to see here. If you are not familiar with my videos, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'd love it if you would subscribe, but a quick bit of background information. I have a family of 4. It's my husband, myself, my oldest son who is 17, and my youngest son who is 12. We live in a very modest mobile home in Southeast Michigan, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so we are a single income family. I do bring in a little tiny bit of income, but we don't really count that as anything major. So we consider ourselves a single income family. My husband gets paid every single week on Tuesday, and he is paid based on commission. He works in the plumbing industry as a sewer and drain cleaner, and so he gets a percentage of all of the jobs that he does in a week. So because of that, our income is inconsistent, which means that it's not always super easy to budget. We have to kind of finagle things sometimes, move some things around, and the way that I always make sure that our bills can get paid, the way that I kind of combat our inconsistent income is I always estimate our income total low and our bills high. So that way the bills come in and they're typically a little bit lower than what I budgeted for, and the income total is usually a little bit higher, and so it evens out. The other way that I combat that situation is I roll over money from week to week. So I may be paying this week's bills with money that I rolled over from last week's paycheck, and whatever money I have left over after I take care of all of our expenses, I roll over to the next week. That way, if business is a little slow, my husband's paycheck comes in a little bit low, we aren't scrambling to try to pay our bills. In addition to that, I also keep a checking account cushion. We have a little bit of extra money that I just don't even think about, that we just use in a scenario where we come up a little bit short. And we also, of course, have a emergency fund. We do follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps, kind of. We're more Dave-ish. We're not following his strategies for getting out of debt and all of that super closely, but we did use some of his kind of foundational steps. For example, we have $1,000 in a baby emergency fund. We are currently trying to tackle debt, so we're using the debt snowball. And once we are out of debt, we will add more money to that little mini emergency fund, and we will have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So essentially we're following baby steps 1, 2, and 3, but we're not against credit cards. We're also not gazelle intense, like he says. We're still living our lives. We're still eating out. We're still going on little mini vacations and stuff. We're not shutting our lives down for 2 years while we pay down debt. We're kind of trying to find a balance. Okay, that was a really long intro, but I've gotten some new subscribers in the past few weeks, so I wanted to kind of get that out there. Thank you guys so much, by the way. I mentioned in last week's budget video that I was really close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, and I have now exceeded that. So thank you so much for those of you that have subscribed and stick around. I appreciate it. All right, let's get into the budget finally, 6 minutes in. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit here, and we will talk about where this income comes from. Our income total this week is $12.50, but $12.50 is not my husband's paycheck. Part of that is my husband's paycheck, but in addition to that, like I said, we have YouTube money coming in this week. I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. The way that YouTube works is you get paid through AdSense, and you get paid for the ads that run at the beginning of my videos and sometimes in the middle of my videos. And it's, you know, pennies. It's not a lot, but it adds up over the course of the month. And when I have earned a total of $100 or more, that is when AdSense pays out. So if I make $26 in a month, that money just sits there and continues to collect until I reach 100, and then I'll get paid out. So I did receive a paycheck this week. It was just over $100. I think it was like $115 and change. So it's not a lot. It's obviously nothing that contributes majorly to the household, but we still include it in our budget. So that's in there. Also any money that we rolled over from last week. So we're working with $12.50 this week. And like I said, I tend to estimate our income low. It'll probably come in more than that, but just in case it doesn't, we're covered. So what are we paying with that $12.50 this week? Well, we're paying this week's bills. Like I said, I budget paycheck to paycheck. So I'm just looking at the bills that fall within this week between now and next Tuesday when my husband gets paid again. That's just how I do it. It's how I've always it's always kind of made sense to me to do it that way. And the Budget Moms workbook that I'm using makes it super easy to do that. So the bills that we're paying this week are our camper. We are making payments on a camper that sits on an annual campsite. We love it. It's like our second home, little home away from home. It allows us to do camping and sort of vacation-y things. So we love it. And the payment on that is $200 a month, and that's due this week. So that's what I budget. Now, you can see I have some numbers written down as in my budget category and some numbers in my actual. Someone asked me in the comment section of last week's video if I would show the actuals at the end of the week. And I said that I would, and then I totally forgot. So last week's budget that I showed now has like personal information written in, account numbers and stuff. I like to keep track of that sort of thing in my budget pages. So I can't show you guys that page. It's got like my husband's total paycheck and everything, and I'm just not comfortable sharing all that information. So what I did this week is I've already paid some bills, so I went ahead and put the actual amounts in here so you guys can get an idea of how I round things. I don't always round things up. I just kind of make it work within the parameters here. So the income is budgeted low, and then the bills I budget, especially if it is a situation where the payment is not the exact same every month, I'll estimate high. So you'll see that when I get to my husband's motorcycle insurance, I estimated quite a bit higher than the actual bill came in. So this was kind of my way of showing you that. If you guys would like to see a video of me reconciling my budget at the end of a week, I could try to do that. And just like leave off the personal information. I don't know how I would go about it, but if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, let me know. But I thought this was kind of a way to give you a little bit of that without giving away too much information. You know, budgeting and personal finance is personal. And so, you know, I try to find a balance between what I'm sharing, still being authentic and sharing as much as I can without giving away, you know, my credit card information or whatever. So it's a balance. I'm trying to find it. So there's that. Wow, I am very chatty in this video. Sorry, you guys. Let's get back to it. So, like I said, my camper payment is $200. I've already paid that. I paid that just as soon as my husband's paycheck was direct deposited, and that was $200. So that was right on the money. For car insurance this month, we are paying $300. Now, we get our car insurance through State Farm, and they have promised some sort of relief for, you know, the pandemic, because people aren't driving nearly as much, and we certainly are not. They're giving some sort of refund back, but we won't probably see that refund until June or July, they have said. So this is a full price payment. We have car insurance on our F-250 Super Duty, my son's Saturn Ion. They're both older cars. And we also have insurance on our camper through State Farm. And that is why this is so high. It's 3 vehicles. And we live in Michigan, where insurance premiums are the highest in the country. So yeah, it's pretty pricey. But that was $300. I paid $300, so that's that. For motorcycle insurance, in addition to those vehicles I talked about, my husband also owns a motorcycle. He has full coverage on that, and that is through a different company, just because we were able to get it cheaper through a different company. It's through Progressive. They are also doing some sort of relief, but only for their auto policies, not for motorcycle insurance, so we won't see anything refunded for that. But anyway, I budgeted $40 for that, and as you can see, when the bill came in, it was actually only $33.26. So that's where, you know, that little bit of wiggle room goes in. I just budgeted high, and then when it came in, it was a little bit lower than that, and that's great. That's just extra money that we can hold on to. In addition to those bills, other bills that are coming out this week that have not come out yet, Lowe's, we budgeted $105 for that. Walmart is $120. That's a credit card. That's the minimum payment. We still have quite a few credit cards to get through, but we did just pay off another one this week, which I'll talk about when I get to our extra debt payment, which is exciting. For groceries this week, I budgeted $150. Gasoline, I budgeted $25. We're still kind of keeping that budget low, because even though gas prices have gone back up in my area, we're still not driving a ton, so we don't need a ton of gas money. When we have been driving, we've been driving my son's little Saturn that uses like a teaspoon of gas to get wherever we need to go. So we're still able to keep our gas budget a little bit lower. And then household is $30. And that is actually what I put towards household. So I had written here, you can probably see the remnants of whatever I erased. I use a Parkoo erasable pen to fill in my budget. Let me show you guys what that looks like. Actually, didn't even bring a pen over here. I don't know what I was thinking, so let me just grab it out of my cart here. I have a little cart right next to me where I'm sitting, and it holds all of my planner supplies and pens and stuff. If you guys ever want to see a tour of what I keep in my little planner cart, it's one of those recollections carts. I can absolutely do that for you, so if you're interested in seeing that video, let me know. But this is the erasable pen that I use. Why won't it focus? There it is. It's just a Parkoo erasable pen. I get these on Amazon. I'm not really sure why this won't focus. There it is. And they're really affordable. I like them. I like writing in ink in my budget planner, but I make a lot of mistakes, and so I like to be able to erase when I do that. Anyways, I had that I was going to take some spending money this week, but ultimately decided I don't really need it. I have put myself on a no-buy because I've been shopping like crazy, which you will know if you watched my Amazon haul video earlier this week. So I put myself on a no-buy, so I'm not taking any spending money. Also, we're not going to be eating out this week. We've got, you know, Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to be barbecuing and stuff, so no eating out money this week either. So that's it for all of our bills and expenses. Under my bills category, I always put any bills that we're going to pay, as well as any expenses that we're going to use our debit card for. Cash is in a separate category. So that's it for those items. When you total all of these budgeted items up, you get $970, as you can see here. And we take that $970 from the $1,250 that we started with up here, and that leaves us with $280 to roll over to our next category, which is our cash envelopes. So our cash envelope category is pretty puny. We're not doing a whole lot with cash in terms of our weekly spending. This side of the planner is sort of weekly spending. This side is more like savings and that sort of thing. So in terms of our weekly spending, the only cash we're really doing is my husband's spending money. If I take spending money, I just leave it in the bank and use my debit card, because I'm not going anywhere. I haven't left my house other than to pick up groceries in like 2 months. Today I went to my son's school to pick him up a Chromebook, and that was the first time I had gone anywhere and actually gotten out of the car since March. So I don't need spending money. I'm not going into stores and spending, but my husband works every day. He likes to occasionally drive through to get lunch or pick himself up a cup of coffee or whatever, and that's what he uses his spending money on. So it does make sense for him to have cash. So in our cash envelopes category, we just have my husband's spending money, which is $40 for the week. And when you subtract that $40 from the $280 that we had left over after we took care of our bills, you get $240 to take to the next category, which is sinking funds. For the first couple of weeks of May, we were gung-ho adding tons of money, and obviously tons of money is relative, right? But a lot of money, in my opinion, into our sinking funds. We had it to spare, and I really wanted to focus this week on bulking up some of our sinking funds. This week, we're just doing a couple of categories, which is fine. The great thing about sinking funds is that you can kind of do it any way that you want, whatever works for you. We have several sinking funds that we are saving for, but we don't necessarily add money to every single one every single week. So this week, we are just going to add $20 to our Campground Fund. The Campground Fund is to help pay for our annual campsite. And of course, my neighbor's gonna cut his grass right now. Oh man. Sorry, you guys. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I'm gonna go and come back when he's done, so you don't have to hear that. Okay, so just about the time he finished, another neighbor started up. So we're just gonna get through this as quickly as we can. Hopefully it's not too distracting for you guys. So, like I was talking about, our Campground Fund is gonna get just $20. I typically put more than that in there, but I just don't want to short us this week, so we're just gonna add a little bit, $20, no problem. And then the other sinking fund we're gonna fill is YouTube, and this actually covers my taxes for YouTube. You don't pay taxes through AdSense, so you have to pay them at the end of the year when you file your taxes. So I always put aside 30% of my income for taxes, just so that we have it and we're not struggling to pay that come April of next year. So it's a total of $55 for sinking funds this week. Not a ton, but we're, looking towards the future. We're keeping all of these future expenses in mind, and that's what we decided to put away this week. Like I said, you can put as little or as much as you want, depending on what your goals are. So when you take the $55 for our sinking funds from the $240 that we had left over after we took care of bills and cash envelopes, we're left with $185 to take down here to our extra debt category. So if you have been watching my videos, you will know that we have been saving our debt snowball money in cash in an envelope to have on hand. That way, if we came on hard times because of the pandemic that's going on, if my husband got sick or lost his job, we would have just a little bit of cash on hand to help us kind of get by. However, we managed to save up enough money in our debt snowball envelope to pay off a credit card. So we took that money, we deposited it in, oh my gosh, that's hard to say. We made a deposit to the bank with that $800 that we had in our debt snowball envelope, as well as the money that I had set aside from my monthly savings in April and May. And I'm sorry, not April and May, in March and April, and it was enough to cover our the credit card we were working on with our debt snowball. So we have another credit card paid off. I made the payment yesterday morning. I was so excited to do that. It felt so good. So another credit card checked off our list. We used this $120 from this week's debt snowball towards that as well. So I won't have cash to show you today. This money was spent towards that card. And I did a little breakdown on the cash breakdown on the next page of my planner, which I'll share with you guys when I get there. But $120 went towards that. And when we start next week working towards paying the next credit card on our list, our debt snowball amount will be up a little bit higher because we're going to lump the minimum payment we were paying for that credit card in with it. And we're going to start doing the same thing that we did with this card. We're going to keep it in cash just so that we have a little bit of spending money on hand in case we need it. It'll be like emergency savings if we get desperate, but outside of that desperation, it will be towards the next credit card in our debt snowball. So we'll just save it up in cash until we either have enough to pay off that card like we did this one, or until the kind of looming dark cloud threat of the pandemic is behind us, whichever comes first. So anyways, I did budget $120 to go towards our debt snowball. That is what we've been putting towards our debt every single week. And that extra debt total, obviously, is $120. We subtract that $120 from that $185 that we had left over after we paid our bills, our cash envelopes, and our sinking funds, and that left us with $65 to take here to our extra savings. So our extra savings category is savings just for whatever. Where our sinking funds have specific categories that we're saving for, the extra savings is just rainy day money. For example, like with the monthly savings that I had, I use that towards debt. But it doesn't have to be towards debt. It can be for fun money. It can be for whatever I want. It's just extra savings. And in my extra savings, in my Savopoly category, this week we're saving $18. If you're not familiar with Savopoly, it is a fun printable that I got from memotherandi.com, sort of like a Monopoly board, only you go around the board and the property that you land on corresponds with how much money you save that week. I showed more about that in my May budget setup, which I'll have linked for you guys if you want to check that video out. But either way, the space I landed on for this week was $18, so we're going to save $18 towards our extra savings this week. So our savings total is $18 when we subtract that from the $65 that we had left over after we took care of everything else on the page. We're left with $47, and we're going to roll that over into next week to help combat that inconsistent income that I talked about. So that is the budget for the week. Now let's talk about the cash breakdown, which is on the next page. This is my other favorite page from the Budget by Paycheck workbook. This is how I figure out how much cash I need to pull from the bank. So I just write out the categories that I needed cash for, which in our case are our cash envelopes, our sinking funds, and our extra savings. I listed those amounts out, and then I broke down which denominations I needed using the cash breakdown. So for example, my husband, for his spending money, we budgeted $40, and for that I wanted two 20s. For the campground, we needed a 20. For YouTube, I needed a 20, a 10, and a 5, and so on. And that is the total amount that we needed from the bank. I transfer this information onto a little teller slip for the bank, and I send it with my husband. He works right down the street from our bank, so he goes to the bank for me. He pulls out that cash that I need and brings it home to me, and I have it here. We're not working with a ton of cash this week, so the cash stuffing part of this video will be relatively short, but that is how I figure out how much cash that we need. And then down here in our money thoughts category, I broke down how we went about paying off our Home Depot card. So what we did was we deposited $800 from our debt snowball envelope. I had $172 in my March savings envelope and $174 in my April savings envelope. So during March and April, I was following the Budget Moms monthly savings challenge course, and I was able to save up that amount of money in each of those months. So I took all of that money and I deposited it into the bank, and it was $1,146 total. I added that to this week's debt snowball payment, which was $120, and that gave us a total of $1,266 to work with to pay off Home Depot. When I went to pay off Home Depot, the actual amount was $1,226.66. So that left us with about $40 left over after we paid that. So that $40 that's left, and I just, didn't worry about the change. Our checking account cushion will cover that little bit of change, no problem. That extra $40 that we have left is going to go to the next credit card in our debt snowball, which is a Discover card. And actually, I might hold on to this until next week when my Home Depot bill comes due. I can't think of that word. The thing where they list out your bill. I can't think of that word. Oh, I hate when I do that. Brain fart. Anyways, I might wait until then because I have a feeling there's going to be some interest on that bill that I need to cover, and that $40 could cover that. So I will wait until next week when that cuts and shows up on the Home Depot website, and I'll use that $40 to pay any interest that has accumulated over the course of the month, and then if there's anything left, it'll go to Discover. So I hope that made sense. So that's how I took care of the Home Depot card. It is paid off, done, so exciting. And that is the budget for the week. So I'm going to go ahead and put my little planner here, and it's not little at all, it's actually huge. You could like really hurt somebody if you hit them with this. I'm gonna put my planner off to the side, and we're going to stuff this cash. It's not gonna take very long. It's gonna be a pretty quick portion of the video, so I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so I have my accordion folder here, and this is what I keep all of my sinking funds and extra savings in here at home. So it's an accordion folder. It's got a bunch of different dividers, and each of these dividers corresponds with one of my sinking funds. And I just keep the cash in here separated by category, along with a little index card that keeps track of how much money I have in each category. And I write down each week when I add money or when I take it away. And that is how I do our sinking funds. When we have stuffed all the money in our sinking funds, this goes into my safe here at home for safekeeping. And when I get too much money in a category that I'm not comfortable having that kind of money at home, I'll just deposit it in our bank. That's how we do sinking funds. You can do it any way you want. I find that having tangible cash helps keep me focused, whereas a number on a screen with the amounts in the bank, it's harder to kind of feel like that's tangible. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I choose to do it. This accordion folder is great. It has a flat bottom, so it stands up on its own. It's got a ton of different sections, which helps because I have a ton of different sinking funds. And so this works out great for me. So I have my cash here. We're gonna get stuffing. This isn't gonna take long at all. The first category that I needed cash for was my husband spending money. I've actually already given him that, so that's not here. I gave that to him as soon as he handed me this envelope of cash. He stuck it in his wallet, and he can use that for whatever he wants. I don't really ask him what he uses his spending money on. Essentially, it's his allowance, even though we don't call it that. He can use it for whatever he wants. Like I always say, he can throw it out the window for all I care. Just don't ask me for more money until next week. That's the decision that we came to together. By the way, I'm not like ruler of the budget and refusing to give him any more money, we came to that decision together. Okay, so he has his money. Next we're going to do the Campground Money, which this week is just $20. So I go into my little accordion folder here and I find the Campground tab, which is here. And I know you guys can't really see based on how I have my camera set up, so you'll just have to trust me. And then the money is behind that tab. So I have my little index card here that shows what we currently have in our Campground Fund, which is $120. And we're just gonna add $20 today. So I've got my little pen here. Today's date is May 19th, or that's the date of the paycheck. I always just use the date of the paycheck to make it easy. Today's actually the 20th when I'm filming this. We're gonna add $20 for a total of $140. So I always count out how much money I have in my envelopes here or in my accordion folder in each category, just to make sure that I didn't make any math mistakes or didn't forget to write down when I took money out. I just like to keep tabs on it. So we're supposed to have 140. This one's easy to count. 1, 20, 40. And I actually went through all of my categories and took some of the smaller bills and exchanged them for larger bills because my accordion folder was getting super full. And so it's gonna make counting everything a lot quicker and easier too. So that's it. We just put that behind the Campground tab. And we move on to the next category, which is YouTube. I don't know what happened to my little index card that I had for YouTube. I can't find it anywhere, so I'm just gonna start a new one. I must have stuck it in a planner or something. I'm scatterbrained. So we're just gonna count up what is in here, and that'll be our starting balance. 50, 100, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. So 144 is our balance. And we are going to add $35 today. So that is a 20 and a 10 and a 5. We'll just slip that in here where it belongs. And that should bring us to a total of 179, if my math is accurate. So let's just count it one more time and make sure that's right. 50, 100, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. So that is YouTube taken care of. And that will just go, again, right behind the YouTube tab. Till next time. All right. Lastly, I have Savopoly. This was really quick because we didn't have a ton of cash to work with this week. Sometimes it's a lot longer. Good to knock it out though. Okay, so for Savopoly, we currently have $193 in there. And we are adding 18 more today. So that should be what I have left here if I did everything right. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. It is. So 193 plus 18 is what? 211, I think. I definitely had to count on my fingers there. Wow. Like I said, I'm bad at math. Especially on camera. I get like stage fright or something. I don't know, but I have a hard time with adding sometimes, and subtracting and multiplying and dividing. My son has been asking me for help with algebra. So, you know, they're doing the distance learning and whatnot, and I'm useless to him when it comes to algebra, but I've been trying. I haven't been doing too bad. Kind of relearning it as I go, learning right along with him. Okay, So let's just count this up. 50, 100, 50, 70, 90, 200, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's right. And again, the Savopoly is just extra savings. I can do whatever I want with it. Might just put it towards my debt snowball. I'm like really gung-ho towards paying off debt right now, but we'll see. For now, it's just gonna sit tight. We'll see what happens with that money. All right, you guys, that is it for the cash. Now we just need to wrap this video up. All right, you guys, so that is it for the week 3 budget. I hope that you enjoyed this video. So excited to have another credit card paid off. It's working, you guys. The debt snowball works. Very exciting. So thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed and you like this sort of content, please click that red subscribe button. I would love to have you back. I post new budget videos every week, as well as other content, grocery hauls, some other fun like sit-down type videos. I've been known to post cleaning videos and vlogs, though I haven't done those in a little while, but spoiler alert, those might be coming back soon. So if you are at all interested in that sort of thing, definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm Jessie. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys!